There were some deaths in bodybuilding recently, right? Some people blame diuretics for that. Obviously, by diuretics, what do you think? Do you think that's they do play a role in that, in that, or do you feel like it's
Yeah, diuretics are, of course, just one of the things that is very dangerous. I can't say. I can't say. How much I am maybe a guy who's really open now that think that actually I just said that bodybuilding is becoming dangerous, but I don't want to go like an expert field as a doctor without knowing anything. Um, we have on YouTube. You see all those. They reveal the cause of death. For example, there's a whole thing about Münster. And if you ask me straight up to me, you think it's diuretics? If I see some of the lists that they are all taking, I'm in shock. So yeah, of course, diuretic one of the things, but there's a lot of other things that I'm shocked about in the amounts, particularly in the amounts and substances, the different kind of substances.
did the levels change from the time you were competing?
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. But again, I think I said it about 3 times, but it's really important for me. It's not the fault of the federation, the athletes, or the coaches. It's because of pushing the boundaries, what I myself also did. I would have done it as well because I know how much I want to win the Olympia. But yes, having said that, for most definitely, for sure, it has to do with drugs, of course.
How do you feel about insulin? Use of insulin in bodybuilding? Do you think it's do you think it has a place in it? Do you
Well,
think it should be not?
Well, by now you know that if I talk about it, I like to point the finger at myself. When I lived in Los Angeles, I had a famous bodybuilder, famous doctor who was helping a lot of pro bodybuilders. And again, I was going to him. There was in the time that the insulin was coming up, not thinking about anything. I thought by myself, well, if this is the new thing, I have to do this as well. So I went to my doctor, and he was in for a lot of things. The only thing that he did, he took his glasses off and he said, Barry, I want to help you with everything except insulin. And that was for me, was that enough not to go that way? Medically, scientifically, I don't know enough to say it will kill you, to make such a statement. But that's obvious. That's obvious that danger things can happen with insulin.
In the beginning of this interview, you said, you believe that competitive pro bodybuilding can be healthy, right? So the
Yeah.
question is, a lot of people are going to say is how exactly. I mean, it's an extreme sport. It's a very competitive sport, right? You got to take if you in a untested, if you an untested bodybuilding, right? That means you have to take you basically do take variety of different supplements and steroids.
Yeah.
How do you really make it healthy? Like how do you do that?
Well, I just looked at myself. At the time that I was doing everything that to become better, the standards of the medical issues were different, and I was tested all the time by a doctor, and I know I was healthy at the time, and also when I stopped, it took me a couple of months to recover hormone-wise and all those kinds of things. So what I meant with that is that it could be healthy is a difficult word to say, but it could be much less dangerous and unhealthy if there was not so much involved.
Not so much dosages of PEDs.
Yeah, that's what I see and what I hear and what I believe. That's probably the biggest change compared to the old days.
Well, it's also don't you think people's bodies react differently to everything? Like for example, if you were able to do something and your body was tolerant to it, somebody else's genetics or whatever, it might be a completely different reaction, right? That can also be the case.
Well, you have done this before. You got the right questions. No, you're absolutely right. And it's a good timing you say this because then I'm at the point, I almost forget it, because I was not that good and such a healthy man. I probably just have been lucky as well because of genetics and all that. And that's, that, of course, if you want to put it that way, yeah, for sure, most definitely.